Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Legend.
Ice Cube, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. What's happening with y'all?
Welcome. How you feeling first?
I feel good as a government check.
6th season of the Big 3.
Yep, 6th season.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. We had a great time last night in Brooklyn, the Barclays. A lot of OGs came out, Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash, KRS-One, Eric B, Chuck Chill Out.
That's dope.
You know, it was dope.
I seen Ja Rule perform.
Ja Rule got down, Scarlett. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of love celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. Nice crowd, you know, about 9,000 people. So, you know, it was pretty amazing.
What does the 50th anniversary of hip-hop mean to Ice Cube?
Man, it means that, you know, we've come a long way. I remember the first, you know, year hip-hop or, you know, really rap. You know, hip-hop is bigger than just rap, but I remember, you know, rap particularly was, you know, the first year it came out, everybody was saying it was a fad, you know, it wouldn't last, and 49 years later, it's the biggest music in the world, so
Absolutely.
It's a proud moment.
You know, it's similar to the Big 3. When you started with the Big 3, everybody thought it was going to be a fad, and you're 6 years later. So let's talk about that, because you know, we kind of seen the inception of the Big 3. How has it been since then? Is it difficult to get players? We'll talk about some of the difficulties in having your own league.
First, I appreciate you guys always supporting. You know, from year one, before y'all even knew what it was, you guys were supporting the league, having us on and talk about it. And, you know, we put 15,000 people in the Barclays year one when we had Allen Iverson. And so, you know, other than you know, really not getting much exposure from mainstream sports media, you know, that's really the problem. And also, you know, there's things that's happening behind the scenes when it comes to sponsors and networks and partners to partner with the Big 3. We think we're running into a lot of interference from the NBA. A lot of deals, you know, make it to the 11th hour and then get shut down, you know. And so it's frustrating. It's something that we were like suffering in silence because we wanted to work it out with the NBA. You know, we wanted to figure out, you know, what more could we do to show that we're not competition. Now, the whole problem is there's a bylaw in the NBA contracts when you're an owner saying you cannot invest in a competing league. And so they're labeling the Big 3 as a competing league.
That's good, though, right?
Hell no.
I mean, for y'all, right?
No, it's not good.
Okay.
It's not good because
People can't invest.
we're not competing. You know, they make billions every year. You know, we're still trying to, you know, get the league into profitability. You know what I mean? Excuse me if I can't pronounce that. I went to LA Unified School District. So we're still trying to get there, and we're this close, you know, sponsor or two away. But at the end of the day, we're not competing. We play in the summer. If they work with us, we would avoid all the games that they have, you know, as far as WNBA or Summer League, but they not working with us, so we can't coordinate schedules. So we've tried to do everything to show that we're not competing. We don't take players under 22, so we're not going after, you know, your one and dones, your guys that need to really be in the NBA or going to the NBA. And, you know, we try not to interfere with the NBA's schedule in any kind of way. So we're an alternative summer sport that you know, people that like hoops, you know, want to see more basketball. That's what we provide. They're playing 5-on-5. We're playing 3-on-3. It's apples and oranges. It's a totally different game when you really break it down.
It would make sense to me for the NBA to do like a strategic partnership with y'all.
It makes sense to me too, man. And that's what we've been trying to do. I think what it is really, at the end of the day, everybody can put race on it, but I think it's the fact that we changed the game without asking their permission.
Right.
And I don't think they like it. I'm just speculating. You would have to ask Adam Silver, Mark Tatum. But we changed the game, but we do what's best for our game to make 3-on-3 exciting. You know what I'm saying? We got the 4-point shots. We got bring the fire rule, 1-shot free throws. All these things speed up the game, make it faster, make it funner to watch and play. So, we're changing the game just to make it better for our sport. We're not, trying to push the NBA, even though they do follow some of our leads. We were the first to recognize mental health and to recognize that, players shouldn't be shunned because they might have an issue. Let's try to work through it. Let's try to help them through it. And we embrace players, and they had to do it. If you remember, they've shunned a lot of players because they didn't want to deal with them mentally. So we pushed them in that. We was the first league to allow CBD use, which got players off of opioids. They had to follow that. So it's we're changing the game and trying to make it better. And I'm pretty sure they don't like that. But we don't care. They don't own basketball. Like, I say this over and over. I don't hear kids saying, "Mama, I want to go outside and play NBA."
Right.
They go and say, "I want to go out and play basketball." Yeah. So basketball's for everybody and anybody. And so we just want to say we're not a competing league. If they would not put us in that category now, they don't do that to TBT, which is the basketball tournament. They don't do that to Slam Ball, which is coming back. NBA owners can own a pickleball league. They can own an NFL team. They can own a baseball team. They can own anything they want except the Big Three. So we're one of the only leagues that are so-called competing, and we're not. So we want them to drop the clause.
I was going to ask you. I know last time you were up here, you were saying that you didn't sell the franchises as of yet. Are you starting to sell the franchises yet?
Yeah, we're starting to sell teams.
Who owns teams, if anybody, so far?
Well, right now we're talking to a few different people and groups about buying teams, and we want to put them in cities. So, you would have, for lack of a better word, New York Trilogy, Baltimore Ball Hogs, whatever. So that's our next phase. That to me is how we grow the league. We've calibrated it to the point. You got to remember, we were inventing a sport at the same time as we were playing the sport. So we had to calibrate it over the years and make sure that the rules work. There was ways to come back from large deficits. We made wrinkles that made the game interesting and fun. And so we believe that the game is in a good place, and now it's time to sell the teams to owners who have their own vision for their 3-on-3 team.
How do the players work? So, 2 questions actually. One, do the players reach out to you guys, or do you reach out to the players? And then how do you decide what player goes to which team? Because I've been to a couple of games. Of course, I went to when Allen Iverson played and a couple others. But how do you decide? Like, so let's player that just retired or doesn't want to play in the NBA wants to play in your league. How do y'all decide what team he goes to? And
well, we look at, first of all, players contact us, and of course we go after players who we think will be great for the league. We usually, have a player captain spot or co-captain spot, and if we only have co-captain spots, we'll try to pair this player up with the captain, because the captain chooses who's on their team. So, people want guys that they know can play, so it's usually not hard to find a place for a new player that's coming in. But how it works, the player captain, the captain of the team, gets to pick who he wants to play with. So he picks two co-captains. So, guys know how guys play, and it's like, if I play with him, I can win. And then they draft two more players. So we have a draft pool, have a lottery. Mm-hmm. So you pick first, second, third, whatever, and then they pick the players they want, and those players play. And if anybody get hurt, you just return back to the draft pool, and they pick another player from the draft pool until the injured player comes back. So there's always a pool of players waiting to get called up to play in the Big Three.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Now, I heard you on Joe Rogan, and you said the NBA is encouraging people to not sponsor the Big Three and encouraging networks to not play the Big Three. Isn't that a lawsuit if you can prove it?
It is. It's antitrust that they're participating in. Mm-hmm. When you try to keep a monopoly running by going behind the scenes and scaring either companies that you work with or companies that want to work with you. They are very close to, if they haven't already crossed the line with that. And I think it should be looked into what they're doing to the Big Three, because, they've scared off some big companies who deal in basketball. Now you got to understand, the basketball pool of companies that use basketball to promote is not big. It's a small pool of companies. So it's not like, even networks. Mm-hmm. If you think about all the networks that play basketball, there's ABC, ESPN. There's
TNT,
mm-hmm. and right now CBS. Mm-hmm. You got any more?
No, I mean locals, like here.
Okay, so them the major networks. Mm-hmm. So you start running out of people to go to.
Yeah, there's no real estate.
If they're blocking. Now we got half of our games on CBS, but we got a whole nother half of games right now on Big3.com. We on Masson, if you got that, at Mid-Atlantic Sports Network. But we should be on another network with the second half of our games, and we've known that they've squashed one deal, and so same thing with a few other major companies that deal in basketball. So we just got to get them to stop that part.
How do they do that? Like, how do they squash a deal? Like, what do they say to these networks?
I don't know what they say. I ain't in the room, but I know we're usually close to the finish line with a deal, and then there's a call or a conversation about, we need to work something out with the NBA or we're not going to have to do this deal. Mm-hmm. So, that's happened several times, and it's just starting to get to a point where something's got to give, So we're going to keep pushing. It might be something the DOJ might want to look into, because it's not right what they're doing. Now,
calling them out, has it made it worse, or is it just the same? As you see, more backlash from it?
It's hard to calibrate. Hate is hate. So I don't know if it's more hate or less. Mm-hmm. That part really don't matter to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, you got to go on the offensive no matter what the consequences are. You can't just sit back and take it, right, and not try to defend yourself and fight for your rights. So I don't really care what they're doing behind the scenes, because they haven't been able to kill us. We're still alive. Right. Had 9,000 people on a Sunday afternoon that sat for 6 hours to watch Big 3 basketball, and they had a party. We had KRS-One performing, and Ja Rule, and You know, and it was a great time. MOP came through and performed. Scarlett, and salute to those folks and all the OGs that came that made the celebration great.
I wonder what the NBA wants from the Big Three. Like what's their ultimate goal? They just want y'all. They want to shut y'all down.
Probably so. They would be happy.
When we say the NBA, isn't the NBA a collective of owners? So it's a collective of owners that's.
No, because some owners want to invest in the Big Three. Mm-hmm. We've heard from them. They're not allowed to. So I say it's the top brass because the players like us. They love us, of course, because we're providing opportunities for their heroes and could be opportunity for them in the future.
Of course.
So coaches like us. GMs have been to our games. Scouts, owners, everybody you can name. And so it's the top brass is the only ones because Adam could say Big Three is exempt from this bylaw because they're not a competing league. Now, it's not just the NBA owners that get tainted. It's anybody with money that has a dream to own an NBA team. So if I dream to own the Nuggets one day, I can't invest in the Big Three because
they're gonna shun me.
It squashes my dream right there. You don't wake up saying I want to own a Big Three team. Not yet. You will give me 10 years.
Have you had a conversation with Adam at all?
Several. I've had.
How's the conversations went?
Well, I haven't had a conversation since we launched the league.
But he was aware that you were launching the league.
We went to him. We actually offered the NBA 10% of the league for free, because we're using a lot of their former players. We wanted some kind of working relationship, so they didn't want it, and we just told them we was going to do it anyway, and that they wasn't going to stop us because we kind of know how they operate,
I would think they would want
from previous encounters.
After 6 seasons, y'all showing success. I can even see during All-Star Weekend having a Big Three, with the OG players versus the OG players. Like, all of that makes perfect sense to me. Like,
I agree.
Me too. What they should be worried about, to be honest, instead of the Big Three, is there's some foreign investors talking about starting the ABA again. Now, that's true competition because that's 5-on-5 professional basketball, and these dudes can pay. They can pay big money, bigger money than the NBA. So they should start worrying about the Big Three and doing what they're doing to us. They should work with us so they can have a bigger footprint in basketball, and then they should worry about this ABA that's coming.
I was going to ask, what do you think about these contracts that the NBA is giving out, right? They're giving out huge contracts. Like, these numbers don't even make sense to me. But and how does that affect you? Like, do players say, look, I need a little more money because I'm seeing what these guys are getting over here? Like,
they know, we're not the NBA. And if they could get that money, they would. And they're welcome to it. Like, anybody that's called up to the NBA from the Big Three, we let them go. From, our players, sometimes they become coaches in the NBA. We let them go because, of course, that's the dream of any basketball player is to be in the NBA. So we don't stop anything.
And how many players were called up from the Big Three?
We've had about, I can't name them all, but we've had over 10 players called up to either the G League or actually got 10-day contracts in the NBA. So, they watch us. They obviously pick our players, and we don't stop that.
I love this tour you've been on too, man, because it feels like this is authentic Ice Cube, right? And it's like, you've always been authentic, but it feels like I'm railing against the machine. So I was going to ask, who out of the gatekeepers are the gatekeepers worse than sports, Hollywood, or the music industry?
Yeah,
I think they all around. I don't think it's worse than any other. I guess profession. I think there's, people that try to make sure you stay in your lane. And if you look like you're getting out of your lane, sometimes they'll watch you, sometimes they'll put guardrails up, and sometimes they'll actually put a gate up and make sure you go no further. So, that's what we have happening here. And this is just my testimony. But we all got them, and we all got to figure out who they are. We don't have to let them know we know who they are. We just got to figure out how to get around that gate. I used to hop fences when I was young all the time. A fence or a gate never stopped me from going where I wanted to go.
Which one is more difficult for you? Because you've seen them when you first started NWA. You've
Every
seen
industry.
Them, when you first started in the entertainment industry doing films, and now you see them now. Which one is the most difficult?
None of them. They all easy. You just got to go at them. You can't go, you can't try to nice guy it all the time, all of them fold like a chair. And this one will too.
I saw you on Bill Maher, and you was talking about the record industry, and you said that the record industry uses social engineering in rap to encourage criminal behavior. At what point did you realize that?
Oh, man, after I got mature in the game, after I knew that, records were made by committee. A lot of albums, a lot of dope songs people like are made by a group of people telling rappers what to say or what's dope or that line ain't good enough or, let's change it to this. Get somebody up here that can write and all this kind of hip-hop by committee. And, yeah, the record companies, it be they people in there. I've never had an A&R. I've never had a record company guy tell me shit about my music, about how to make it. Some of it they liked, some of it they didn't, some of it they raised their eyebrow to, but that's what I turned in, that's what they had to accept. And, that's hip hop to me.
What gave you the business mind, right? Over the BET Awards, of course they play Straight Outta Compton, the Big Three, I seen the Big Three as well that weekend. But, in all these things, it seems like you knew what you wanted from the door, right? Going back to Straight Outta Compton, they talking about everybody's so happy to just get paid and so happy to be on tour. But it was clear that you were always about, where's my money? Where's my contract? How come I'm not this? What gave you that business mind early on when especially even artists today are still not on it with all the knowledge that we know and everything that we see? You can Google so many things. What gave you that business mind so early on?
Watching, people I know and like, have to kind of beg for their money, and I ain't gonna say no names, but I've seen people that really, can I get paid? Can I get paid? And it was just, I saw that at, 14, 15 years old, hanging around the industry, just had my antennas up. And, when it was time for me to do records, I was in a stage where I was happy, I'm ready to go, I'm finally get to live my dream and do music and put it on wax and put it out and see if I'm good enough, And so I had a publicist who later became my manager, lady by the name of Pat Charlamagne. And if you see the Friday movie, she helped me produce that movie, Friday. You'll see her name on it. But she was the publicist for NWA. And I would show up to the interviews early. I'm like, if you can't be on time, be early. So I would show up to all the interviews early. Sometimes them dudes wouldn't even show up, like Easy on his way, Dre on his way, but they never showed up. So I'll be the only one there. So we got to chop it up. And she was basically like, do you know who Jerry Heller is? And I'm like, no, who is that? Well, you need to look him up because you just got to watch him. How's your paperwork? She started have you signed a contract with them yet? And I'm like, nah, I ain't signed nothing. And she was like, you need to make sure you get an attorney before you sign anything with them. And so I wanted to put her in the movie, but it just wasn't enough real estate. People just don't know how hard it is to actually put 10 years into 2 hours. But at the end of the day, she hooked me up with a lawyer by the name of Michael Ashburn, and we strategized, you know, on how we were gonna see if we were being treated fair by Ruthless, and so, you know, from seeing that, I knew this was show business. So the music and the production is one thing, but it's really all about the business. That determines if you're going to be happy with the outcome.
People talk about how instrumental your wife is too in your business.
Yeah.
What's her role?
Everything. You know what I mean? Her role is just being a confidant, a muse. You know, she's everything to me. She helped me navigate. She helped me with knowledge and wisdom. You know, she's just a fantastic person. You know, she's very ahead of the curve when it comes to her thinking. So me and her, you know, we go together like macaroni and cheese, you know.
You run everything by her, like any?
Not everything, but you know, when it's time to really, she the one who helped me leave NWA. You know what I mean? Because I didn't really have nobody to talk to about it. She was just my girlfriend then, and I was, you know, everybody telling me stay in the group. Like, you crazy? You about to leave? What the hell? And she was the only one saying, you good, everybody like you anyway. You know what I mean? Like, everybody like your records anyway. So that was nice to hear at a time when my whole hip hop world kind of faded to black, and I was kind of sitting there figuring out what I'm gonna do.
And you know, I want to go back to what you was talking about with the record labels, right? Because you said it's they make songs by committee.
Yes.
'Cause I always think to myself, well, couldn't the artists change that if they just simply stop making the rap that has the criminal intent? But you saying that they're being pushed to make these kind of records.
Yeah.
Damn.
A long time ago. It's been happening forever. Some of the songs that you love, some of the MCs you love, you know, it was done by committee. It wasn't, you know, a man with a pen and a mic. You know what I'm saying? That's me. I'm a man with a pen and a mic.
So was NWA ever, you think they was ever part of the big corporate agenda to push negative content?
Yeah, they were. But not a willing, knowing participant. We thought our music was going to be underground. We didn't make our music big. You know, we did not make our music blow up. Dang. We just did it. And we thought it was going to be underground, dirty street records. We thought our records was going to be sold with the Richard Pryor comedy albums and Red Fox and the, you know, dirty Dolomite records and shit. That's what we thought. So, you know, we didn't have a clue that it was going to blow up until it blew up. You know, I think, you know, one was MTV banning Straight Outta Compton video. Another was the letter from the FBI. Those are two things that started to just blow the group up. But we didn't blow ourselves up. You know, everybody blame us, but we didn't do it. You know, we was doing music. We actually had stopped worrying about the industry as much. We was basically doing music that people in our neighborhood would like. So we were like, yo, let's just do the shit we know. I keep cussing. So I don't know if I'm loud. But let's just keep doing what we've been doing. Or no, let's just do what we know is gonna work around here, so we could be at least neighborhood stars. You know what I'm saying? We can at least, you know, get love in the hood. So that was our purpose, and it blew up.
And it felt like it was like purposely driven from the West Coast. It feel like on the East Coast you had, you know, the Chuck D's and the KRS-Ones, and those brothers was talking about knowledge itself and Islam, more positive thing. But it feel like with the West Coast, they really said, we're going to give you bitches, 40s, and blunts, and violence?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Y'all had Coogee Rap and
Coogee,
you know what I mean, Schoolie D.
But the West Coast blew up though.
Yeah, the West Coast. It just it was a whole different, vibe because we were talking about, the gangbang mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, really, and just kind of making sense of what we was seeing and going through and living through and hearing about, and we was just making music out of it instead of hearing all these tragic stories and not having a creative outlet to express ourselves about them. I did dope, man, because I was sick of dudes selling dope, and the neighborhood was just toe up. You know what I mean? Because of people we loved and knew was strung out, and that was whack to me.
I was going to ask, even since the writer's strike, how's that affected your business?
Not at all. Like, what writer's strike? I mean, I know the writers in the movie industry are on strike, but I'm not writing no movies right now, so it's not affecting me. But, I want them to get what they think they need. I think it's a situation where they're really worried about AI and the studios.
That was my next question. What's your thoughts on AI?
I think it's whack. I think it's the worst shit ever. I think it's gonna put a lot of people out of business and out of work, and everything is gonna be more vanilla. It's not gonna be more creative. It's actually gonna go the other way, and people are gonna get lazier.
Yep.
And nobody's gonna work hard, and nobody's gonna attain the knowledge so they can write it down. They're just gonna ask for the knowledge.
Yep.
And people are just gonna get stupider.
Yeah, I don't see how the writers win this one. I'm part of the Writers Guild. I don't see how they win this one though, because I can see them easily shrinking writers' rooms from 9 to 10 people to 2 people in AI.
Yeah, and like it's a hard one because the studios. I mean, the writers are basically saying, hey, we don't want the studios to use it. We want to go home and use it and charge y'all up for the script. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's when they invented the light bulb, the candle maker had to figure out how to make money. So he started making candles that smell like all kind of stuff to make money. So adapt. You got to adapt or die. That's just it. And a lot of people are comfortable with their careers, and it's hard for them to make that transition to something different.
Right. I wanted to ask you too. When you started getting involved in politics the way you did during the last election, and just being willing to engage with Republicans, did that cost you in Hollywood?
I don't know. I don't measure that stuff. You know what I mean? I just know, when you black, things might not go right. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know. When you black, things might be set up perfect, but it still might not go right. So be ready for that.
And I saw you say that being blackballed helped NWA sell records, and it made me think to myself, how could you blackball Ice Cube in 2023? Like, you an icon. Like, what I'm saying? Like, what could they do to Ice Cube?
Man, I don't know. I don't think about it like that. I just think about it's hard to get anybody that's in your heart out of there. You know what I'm saying? So if people got me in their hearts, you ain't gonna be able to cancel me. It's gonna be hard to get me out of there. If I'm not in your heart, it's probably gonna be easier to cancel me. So it's really not on me. I don't know.
Is there an Illuminati, Ice Cube? You've been around a long time.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I don't know none of them. None of them tell me, hey, I'm Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? I don't participate in none of that, so I don't know about it. Seem like it's there, but who knows?
Mm-hmm. So how do you beat the gatekeepers then? Because I feel like we in an era where there's no gates. I feel like everybody can just do their own thing. So how do you beat the gatekeepers that still exist?
I think you persist. You don't let them stop you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they there. You know, everybody that's in front of the gate ain't always paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've ducked security and hit the fence before and got in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do it again. It's like I'm not used to going through the front door anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if the front door is locked, then we'll get in.
Yeah, because it feels like gatekeeping is such a played out thing for even them to be doing. Because it's like you said, there's so many different ways to get past these gates now.
Well, it's to keep a construct. It's to keep things working the way they are. Mm-hmm. To keep certain people relegated to the bottom of the pyramid. That's why the gatekeepers are there.
Now, Tony Allen, you just signed Tony Allen with the Big Three.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, it's great. You know, the grind father. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're going back to Memphis. I'm pretty sure people are going to be happy to see him. Mm-hmm. We also going to Boston, too, so people are going to be happy to see him. We're going to be in Miami and Detroit and Charlotte, D.C. So we happy to attract. We want more. You know, we hoping to get, Lemon Pepper Lou up in here, too, Lou Williams.
Lou Williams.
And, hopefully we get him. We want, Isaiah Thomas and Dwight Howard and the people playing the game you love.
That'd be dope. Now, last time you always talk about the conversations you had with Kobe and you felt that you could have had an opportunity to get Kobe. Is there anybody else that you feel like you in talks to that you talking to that might be a possibility that?
I don't want to say names because once I do that, sometimes it jinx it. Right. I thought Paul Pierce was coming. He told me he was coming. Mm-hmm. He didn't come. So
why didn't he come? There was a reason, or
he never told me why.
Mm-hmm.
He never told me why. So some dudes, they just done. They like, I'm retired, man. I done gave my body to basketball, and I don't want to play no more. Mm-hmm. So we don't want you in the Big Three if you like that anyway. We want guys still with a chip on their shoulders, still want to go at it, still want to show the world what they got.
What was your relationship like with Kobe?
It was cool, but it was friendly, but it was still from afar. I admired him as a basketball player. He's much younger than me. So sometimes I don't want to spoil that by, getting in people's face more than I would as a fan. I like to be a fan because it's not too many things I'm fans of. So I cherish that. Like I like to, when I go to the games, I like to actually watch the game. I don't care if anybody put a camera on me. All them championships, I'm there, but I'm not on the floor. I'm in my suite. So that's how I like it.
What about? I know you've seen a lot of legends, transition, right? Just being in hip hop, a lot of hip hop legends. When Kobe passed, how did that feel different than those?
It felt darker because it was just so like unbelievable is an overrated word, but it was something that you never even imagined. Like you don't imagine, dudes younger than you that are, in the NBA, a superstar like that dying. Like we haven't had that. Think about it. What athlete that I wasn't here when like Roberto Clemente. I wasn't really. I was here, but I wasn't focused on baseball. I was a youngster. I can, maybe that to people, he was a superstar baseball player, but
not Kobe level. I get what
not
you're saying.
not Kobe level. Like
yeah.
that's never happened to us, and so it was kind of the unthinkable. So that's what made it even darker to me, more tragic.
Well,
and he had his daughter with him.
That
made it even worse.
With the 6th season of Big 3, Melo.
Yeah, I would love to get Melo.
Melo still balls. Last year, he would average like 14, 12 points for Lakers. Before that, he was 20 points.
Man, he would kill the league.
He still practices every day. He still trains.
Melo, come holler at us, man. You'll have fun. I got these dudes. We was in Brooklyn last night, man, to see Michael Beasley hanging with Dr. J and to see, Clyde the Glide over there talking to Mario Chalmers and Joe Johnson. It's like basketball heaven, man. It's basketball heaven in the Big 3, and we're going from town to town like an all-star game, coming in and having fun and making the city better than it was before we got there. We doing cool community stuff with the Young 3. So it's a dream come true for me.
I got a couple more questions. Ron Reiser, he's always with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when he walked there, everybody, that's Stanley from Friday. Like, what role does he play in your circle?
Well, we're actually cousins.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. My father and his mother grew up in Chatham, Louisiana together. And so, he's been around and he's like been a right hand and left hand man. He handles his business. He's very thorough, and he's very business minded. So he's my road manager. So he also makes sure everything is right when I hit the road. And a very good friend. He's my cousin, but I don't like all my cousins. So he's closer than a cousin, to be honest, like a brother. Yeah.
And last question, Mount Westmore, y'all out here cooking with that, but I saw a pic the other day of you and Dub C.
Yeah.
Is there ever a chance we could get a West Side Connection reunion with you, Dub, and Mack 10?
Probably not. Probably not.
Wow.
I don't want to do another West Side Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Mack 10 on Vlad TV, and I always wonder what happened with that relationship.
When you get him on,
his side,
of course he do. Of course he do. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, because he know what it is. That's all that need to matter to me. All right. He know what it is.
All right. Well, there you have it. Ice Cube, ladies and gentlemen.
Legend.
The 6th season of Big 3. Make sure you go out and support.
I got to get the Don Mega hoodie, man. I hope you're selling those.
Yeah, we're gonna drop the collection. Very soon we'll start publicizing it, but I'll send you some gear for sure.
Word.
I just need your sizes, yours too.
Absolutely. And thanks for the invite. They invited me to. They invite you because you can't play basketball, but they invited me to do the 4-point contest. But I was stuck in Charlotte last night. I got back at 10 o'clock, but appreciate you.
That's your excuse.
Anytime.
Nah, I got back last night. They didn't invite you. You too short. You probably can't even reach the rim from the 4-point shot.
I can shoot.
No, you cannot.
Anybody can shoot.
Next city, me and Charlamagne.
Anytime, man.
Next
come
city,
on
me and
through.
Charlamagne. We'll do the 4-point shot.
Let me know which one y'all want to come
We'll
to.
put some money on it, and we'll get the money to charity.
Let's do
That'll
it.
be nice.
All right.
That'll be
there
sweet.
You have it. It's Ice Cube. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.